I'm Børge Brende, Foreign Minister of Norway, and we have had the privilege to be a partner on this conference now. I think it's the third year. And let me start again by thanking Gunhild and her team for their steadfast work and commitment. Very important, and seeing what you have achieved in these 3 years is just very touching. It also shows that an individual can make a huge difference. You are showing that the greatest challenge of our time, the fight against hunger and extreme poverty, is too great to be left to governments alone. At the same time, we as leaders of the world must do a lot more, but we cannot shy away from this big responsibility. Success in the fight against poverty would bring tremendous progress in dealing with also other crises we face in an increasingly vulnerable world. Cutting in half the share of people living in extreme poverty was an achievement. This was already touched on. But the job is only half done, and the most difficult part now remains. I believe it can be done. It is the first MDG, eradicating all extreme poverty by 2030. We know, and some of us even remember when Kofi Annan launched MDGs in 2000, and people were questioning, oh, this was another kind of UN speech. It was not possible to have amount of people living in extreme poverty by 2015. It was done in 2012. This is what we have to now replicate. Poverty is man-made, and all problems created by human beings can in fact be fixed by human beings. To achieve our goals, we have to do more of what has proven to work, but we also have to be very innovative. I think this EAT conference is also about thinking out of the box. Today's topic, urban food systems, is a case in point. I did a small counting last night preparing for this, and I found out, this is not a scientific work, I was jet-lagged, but I was preparing for the speech, and I found out that at least 8 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are related to the topic of today. People are seeking opportunities and protection in cities, and this is putting urban structures and resources under pressure. There are more people now living in cities than in the rural areas for the first time in the world. The need for improvement and innovation in the areas of nutrition, health, air quality, and energy use is urgent. So how can cities feed millions of newcomers, especially given climate change will reduce food production in many parts of the world? These are one of the big questions of this century. How can we ensure that women gain access to land and other productive resources? We know that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. This ancient proverb should be the basis of any development strategy. It is also valid in urban settings. Let us teach people about urban agriculture. That sounds maybe something a bit surreal, but it is not. For instance, how can a windowsill be the start of your own mini-scale farm? We must increase food production, but we must also distribute the food production and the food produced in a better way. We must reduce the dramatic amounts of food and energy that is thrown away. Let us teach people about the disastrous effect of malnutrition on health and on the national economy. For the first time in history, extreme poverty can be eradicated. And this cannot be reached without succeeding in also the nutrition challenge. It will be difficult, but it can be done. We do not choose to do it because it is easy, but because it is hard. This is how President Kennedy explained the ambitious goal of putting a man on the moon in less than a decade. It was hard, but it was done. Let me add, we choose to do it because we have to do it. It is billions of people that need us to work on this agenda in the coming years. It cannot be postponed. Thank you.